Please help a starving artist out by supporting me on Coffee. Thank you. The Pizzaplex was on fire. No one knew how or why. And for most of the animatronics, it was an awakening out of a dream straight into a nightmare. The disgusting sizzling noise of melting plastic, the loud pangs of burning wood, and the shattering of glass was audible everywhere. This was where the machines found themselves, though something else was wrong as well. Roxy was seemingly suddenly blind, Monty completely torn in half, and Chica missing her beak. Not to mention all the dirt and cracks on their animatronic shells. What happened over this night? Meanwhile, Freddy was gone. The machines were without a leader. And in the meantime, the daycare attendant was desperately fighting with his programming. Crying and screaming in his daycare, taking hold of his face to concentrate, to focus. He saw the flames. He knew what to do. He knew what they were. But he wasn't programmed to do these things. Out of sheer desperation, he tried to formulate reasons in accordance to his programming to do what he needed to do. Crying, he grabbed a glass and filled it with water from the sink before uselessly throwing it into the fire. It wasn't fair. After all, there was a fire extinguisher right there. The flames haven't even reached the water hose yet. Angrily, the robot slammed his head into the wall. And that's when he broke. He screamed in pain, his face cracked. This pain, yes, it was similar to the pain he felt when Moon took over for him. Yes, Moon could handle this. He was more mature, his programming different. He needed to force Moon out into the light. With reawakened desire to help, he repeatedly slammed his body into the ground. Until his head turned upside down and a voice shouted inside his brain.
What are you doing? You're breaking our body.
Moon, please, you have to help me,
cried the robot.
Help? How do we even talk? What's going on?
Obviously, Moon still didn't have any access to his eyes. Again, the animatronic bashed his head repeatedly and then,
Oh, William Afton! What's going on here?
That's why I need your help, brother!
Sun's body fell to the ground.
Stop calling me brother and sure, I have to try. For my sake. If you break, I break too. If this place burns, we burn too.
Sun watched as his own body began to stand up, turn around, and taking hold of the nearby fire extinguisher.
Well, you didn't do yours yourself. You explain later, understood?
You groaned as you pulled your hair back into a ponytail, having just arrived at the Pizzaplex's ruins. Sighing, you stepped out of your car and approached one of the men already at work. The guy was tall, lanky. You knew him. Hey, Brian, you said almost too casually. The day guard turned to face you. You're late. Chuckling, all you could say was, I mean, while pointing at the ruin as an explanation. The Pizzaplex had burned down only a few days ago. The building's remains were by now declared safe enough to explore. You and your fellow Pizzaplex employees were now tasked with finding what was salvageable. Like endoskeletons, maybe even machines who were still functional. All that. This was the start of Project Pizzaplex. As always with Fazbear Entertainment, fail once, try again at a different location. With the understanding being that the Mega Pizzaplex was probably the greatest idea they ever had, they wanted to get right back at building, while at the same time cutting as much costs as possible. They even offered a job at the new Pizzaplex for any human worker that showed up automatically. And that's why you were here. Originally, you had been a mere night guard, working in 3-day shifts with your other night guard friends, Vanessa and Dimitri. Anything interesting discovered yet? You asked curiously. Well, yeah, said Brian with a faint smile. We got almost all the glam rocks. That was good news. Obviously they're traumatized and incredibly bad shape, but they're functional enough. Alright. Kevin is already hard at work figuring out a... Brian put the next word in quotation marks with his fingers. Cost-efficient way of repairing them. Almost like he enjoys this chaos. I mean, it's Kevin. That was all you could say. He probably gets paid overtime for this. Didn't he and his wife wanted to go on a second honeymoon? Brian chuckled. So that's why he's doing it. To finance all that. Sneaky bastard. Alright, I'm here now. What do you need me to do? You finally asked after the two of you went silent for a minute. Daycare is less damage than initially anticipated, so... We're sending our... He paused. The wording of Fazbear Entertainment on that subject sounded so... disrespectful to him. Sighing, he closed his eyes and just got over it. More fragile workers there. You deadpanned. Orders from the bigwigs. Right. You didn't believe him. Brian could be a sleazebag, and potentially this was a stupid flirt, even though it was the truth. Also, no one wants to go there. It's, quite creepy there. Not even Terminator wanted to go there. Still deadpanning, you walked past Brian, right into the ruin. The remains were creaking and dripping wet, thanks to rain. It was a bit slippery too. You walked past the Golden Freddy statue that had been smashed by a fallen beam, and turned right to the ruined daycare. The heavy door had been smashed through by firefighters, so you only needed to sidestep to get into the place. Oh God. You muttered to yourself. It looked incredibly creepy, just like Brian said. The roof hasn't come down yet. That was good. The walls were singed, covered in soot. Melted plastic and half-burned toys lied everywhere. You took out your security tablet, swiping away the no connection message that indicated that there was no internet. On your Messenger app that all employees use to communicate, you had a list of to-do things. First, explore. Taking a deep breath of courage, you stepped into the eerie daycare. The slide leading into the main building was completely destroyed, but thankfully the employee entrance to the daycare was unharmed, through which you entered. It was quiet here. Melancholically so. Damn, you were about to tear up. Since the daycare's roof was still intact, there weren't any lights. So you turned on your LED flashlight. Honestly, you said out loud to yourself to calm your nerves. If this place wasn't so dangerous, I can see myself playing paintball here. Yeah, post-apocalyptic paintball. Nah, this didn't help. This only made it worse. And now you wanted to play paintball instead of doing this. Ah, damn it. When will you learn? Next on the agenda was looking for signs of life. After all, Vanessa was still missing, not to mention Freddy and the daycare attendant. Hello? You shouted. You closed your eyes. Great job, you told yourself sarcastically. That's how people get game ended in horror movies. Yet still you didn't know what else to do. Hello? Anyone down here? Damn it. What the fuck am I doing? You shined the light over to the daycare's kiddie arcade. The machines were damaged, but some were still on? There was still electricity somewhere? You furrowed your brows and stepped forward. Before once again pulling out your passenger app. Arcade machine, potentially functional, need help getting these out. You noted. You then turned to face what used to be the play area. You walked forward over to the soot-covered broken pieces. Hello? Freddy? Are you here? Freddy? This really isn't working, isn't it? Silence was all that met you. And then, your body suddenly jolted as the sound of a loud crash. You slipped, landing on your butt. Ow! You aimed your light into the direction of the noise. Freddy, was that you? You asked loudly, as you slowly got up. With shaking legs, you walked forward, slowly creeping closer to a large piece of rubble. Hello? Your voice was edging with fear.
Oh, hello there!
That voice. You ran forward, almost slipping yet again, making your heart race. There, buried under the burned remains of the climbing frame, lied an animatronic leg. It twitched, so it was still alive. Son, is that you? You said as you knelt down next to the machine, your hands taking hold of the junk that had fallen on top of him.
Yes, we're down here!
Please, we need energy.
That other voice. Moon?
We kind of had an accident.
We didn't have an accident. You purposefully...
Shush! Do you want us to be scrapped?
You rolled your eyes. Can you help me at least? Maybe push from down there?
We have been buried here for quite a while.
I made him put us on emergency energy supply. There isn't much we can do, but some company would be great until we inevitably shut down. And game over.
How high is the chance that you would turn on again? Silence.
I don't know.
You sighed and reached for your phone, calling Brian for help. It was hours later, and you were sitting in the only place in the ruin that still had some good energy and vibes in a way. It was used as the base of operation. Parts and services. Really ironic that the maintenance place was the only one still functional. The most important place in the ruined plex, it had been cleaned up and put in a few extra comfort utensils, such as a queen-sized air mattress courtesy of Brian, coffee machine with named mugs for the workers of the ruin, and a TV with a video game console, also thanks to Brian. Of course Brian would do that. By now, the shattered animatronics had been delivered into a storage unit out of the maintenance tunnels. About half of the maintenance tunnels collapsed, but the rest were apparently safe enough to traverse. You yourself refused to go down there, and made the others do it. Too dangerous, and considering the situation, that was acceptable by the others. Now, the goal had become guarding the ruin from potential scavengers at night, while the cleanup happened during the day. You had thanked Brian so many times for the air mattress that it made the man blush, as you had been chosen to spend the night here today, so you had been quietly sleeping for the past 3 hours. Man, sleeping on the job and being paid for it, that was truly the best. Though suddenly, loud arguing rudely interrupted your sleep.
Stop walking,
Shouted a metallic voice.
But we must thank her.
You will scare her, you numbskull. She'll probably be game-ended from a heart attack upon seeing us.
You rolled your eyes, you know exactly who those voices belong to. You got up and slouched over to the maintenance tunnel entrance, and opened it. In front of you stood the shattered daycare attendant, or Eclipse as he so eloquently called himself now. The machine truly was in bad shape. His pants so tattered they had become a ripped bird skirt around his legs, revealing his endoskeleton legs as well. His right arm was completely missing, and was now only a metal pole sticking out of his torso. His face was cracked, only held together by screws. Half of his sun spikes had broken off. At least someone had the courtesy of washing off the soot from the remains of their shell. If you hadn't been prepared for the visage of Eclipse, seeing him in the darkness only illuminated by the flickering lights of parts and services that shine through the door opening, you would have probably crapped your pants. He was truly terrifying now.
Hello there.
Son just didn't want to go to bed without thanking you.
Oh, come on, we both needed to say thanks. We are fully charged now, cleaned up, and we're alive.
The functioning arm of the robot slapped his face.
Ow!
Shut it. This is but a band-aid on a huge open wound. Look at around yourself. Everything is broken.
The robot then looked at you before respectfully bowing to you.
But I must admit you did a good job at saving us, Miss Nightguard.
Is that all? The robot blinked.
Not really.
This is a bit sudden, sure, but he wanted to do something nice for you.
We wanted to.
Shut up.
You sighed as you suppressed a blush. The machine took your reaction as a reluctant confirmation. He waddled past you into parts and services, stopping dead in his tracks in front of the protective dome. A glass cylinder with mechanical arms used for automatic animatronic maintenance. Clearly the robot was thinking.
Well, do you have an ailment? Do you want me to make you coffee? Is there anything I can do for you?
Oh, so we are a staff bot now. Oh, really useful.
No, we're not a staff bot. We are simply doing something nice for our friend. You probably wouldn't understand that since you're only out during the night.
Moon mumbled something sarcastic that you couldn't quite hear as the robot turned around. Coffee, he repeated slowly. Actually, you looked at the coffee maker. They don't have any of my preferred coffee brands. Just some instant garbage, you mused. The machine looked at you. Weirdly enough, it felt kinda sad. Like they were genuinely hoping to make you a drink. But, you said quickly to cheer them up, Terminator brought some instant iced tea. He isn't really a coffee drinker, so maybe he won't mind if you make me that? You said almost hopefully. The robot blinked questioningly.
Wait, who's Terminator?
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
You gulped. Dimitri. It's Dimitri.
Understood!
As the robot walked over to the mugs and the coffee maker, you lied back down on the mattress. This is good, you muttered to yourself. Things are gonna be alright. Things are gonna be alright.
How sweet do you want it?
You shuddered. Take a deep breath. Okay. Full mug. With a full mug, just 2 tablespoons. That's enough.
Will do.
You quietly rubbed your hands over your forehead. The past days had not been kind to you. After all, you didn't know if you still had a job. Your hope was to work well enough in the ruin to immediately get the promised job at the new Plex, maybe even with a little promotion as well. You and the others had already scouted the new location, where construction had already begun. It was only 10 minutes further away than the old location, so not that much of a hassle to get to. Despite the chaos, you had decided to take that as the luckiest coincidence possible.
Here you go.
You suddenly jolted up, too deep in your thought. You had almost forgotten the daycare attendant. Thanks, son.
Hey, I'm the one in charge of the arm. That might as well be my iced tea.
Just call us Eclipse.
That's juvenile.
No, it's not. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
It makes a lot of sense to you.
You burst out laughing at the robot. As far as you were concerned, this right here was the best thing about the fire. It was hilarious seeing the two interact.
What?
Barked Moon. It's okay, Eclipse. Moon sighed painfully. The robot then sat down on a chair next to the mattress, as he was too heavy and pointy for it, and would most definitely break it. The iced tea tasted okay, by the way. So, I still don't fully understand. Why are you doing this again? Eclipse's head spun, energetically.
We want to thank you.
You just talked me into feeling guilty if I didn't do something nice for you.
Shush!
You sighed. You really just wanted to get back to sleep. So what was the best way to get to sleep and make him happy? You then suddenly blushed a little. An idea forming in your head. Okay then, you hummed, your fingers taking hold of the buttons of your shirt. The robot jumped back a little on his chair.
I may not have the necessary equipment installed for...
You furrowed your brows. Wait, what? No! Wait, what are you thinking, you pervert? I just want you to give me a massage, so I can sleep better. A moment of silence, and you continued unbuttoning, before dropping your shirt on the ground. The robot then made an uncomfortable noise.
Why did you go commando?
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. That's very, distracting.
It's more comfortable? Besides, it's, difficult to find a bra in the right size. You then lied down face first on the mattress. Well, I know you're programmed for massages.
Are we?
Yes, technically we are. We are programmed to give an encouraging massage if needed to both adults and children alike.
Well, tell us if we hurt you then.
You smiled. Don't worry about that. You purred almost seductively. Just please mash my muscles back into place, okay? The robot shuddered before kneeling down next to you. His left hand twitched before gently taking hold of your shoulders. Thanks to him being a robot, this position wasn't uncomfortable, and possible in the first place. You felt his shell-covered digits bury gently into your flesh. You groaned. It hurt, but at the same time felt incredibly releasing. You gasped. Keep going. As the robot continued his gentle strokes and squeezes, he slowly got lower and lower. You smirked, blushing heavily. Hey, Eclipse, you muttered.
Yes, Miss Nightguard?
I'm listening.
Put on my pants, okay? I want you to reach the more itching places, okay? Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. That really helps the YouTube algorithm. That's all. Hope you have a good day. Until next time. Bye!